Hello, Centralia. I'm Shane Lothar.
And I'm Rachel Roddy.
And this is Centralia on Air. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week on the show, we had Kaskaskia College's Travis Henson and Mike Loomis in studio. Mike and Travis came by to tell us about the Best of the Second City comedy show at KC, which is on June 28th. Hey, speaking of cities, did you know Paris is the only city in the world where the M in the McDonald's logo is not written in yellow?
Really?
Yeah.
What color is it?
It's white. City authorities insisted on this because the city's artists claim that a yellow environment is tasteless.
Tasteless, huh? Kind of like their burgers.
Hey!
Am I right?
Yeah. Burn, sizzle. Anyways, that was last week. But this is this week.
That's right. On today's show, we have two special guests joining us in studio. First up, Jill from the St. Louis Dairy Council, here to help us celebrate National Dairy Month. All right, Jill, thank you so much for being here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a registered dietitian, and I work for the St. Louis District Dairy Council. So we cover parts of Missouri and parts of Illinois, and I have a regional office in Springfield, Illinois. So I cover 36 counties in Illinois. And what we do at the Dairy Council is we work with schools, we work with media, we work with health professionals, farmers, consumers, just trying to connect people to where their food comes from, to teach them about healthy choices. And also, we try and get rid of myths that are related to agriculture and food by doing things like taking people on farm tours and just creating, materials to give the best information to them in a useful way.
So, June is National Dairy Month.
Yes.
Why do we celebrate Dairy Month in June?
So, it was first celebrated in 1937 as National Milk Month, and it was a way to help distribute extra milk when the cows started on pasture in the summer months. So historically, milk production is high in June when the cows graze on the green grass after the winter feed. So in 1939, the name changed to June Dairy Month. So instead of just celebrating milk, we were celebrating all things dairy. And for over 80 years, it's been the time to honor dairy farmers for their contributions to our nation's economy and health. And it's just a really great time to remind consumers that milk, cheese, and yogurt play an important role in a healthy diet.
Okay.
And what is your role at the St. Louis Dairy Council? What do you do? Where do you go? What do you teach people?
Well, some of the things that we do at the Dairy Council, a big part of what we do is working with schools. So, and that's really probably my favorite thing that we do. In my background, I've worked with schools for years. I've actually only worked for the Dairy Council since November, but before I came to work at the Dairy Council, I worked with school districts. I've been a dietitian for Chicago Public Schools. I worked for a food service management company, and so I've kind of done things sort of on the other side, like planning menus and that sort of thing. And now what we're doing is, as for this job, I'm doing more nutrition education, and that's actually really fun for me because I get to, kind of see the kids and talk to them about healthy food and healthy eating and things like that. So that's probably the most fun part of my job is going into the schools. But we do all kinds of stuff too. We do things for health professionals and other consumer groups also.
So when you're in the school system and talking to all the kids about dairy products and what they should be eating and drinking, how much milk do you tell them to drink, or cheese to eat, or yogurt?
Well, everyone should be getting 3 servings of dairy a day. So we do try and emphasize that a lot. 3 servings of dairy is very important. And especially for kids, milk consumption really drops off when kids get in their adolescent and teen years. And that's actually the most important time for them to be drinking milk, because that's the time that their bones are building. There's those peak bone building years, and then, it kind of drops off by the time you get into your 20s. So it's most important when you're a kid to build those bones, because osteoporosis is a disease, that comes around later in life, but it's really something that you prevent when you're a child. So 3 servings of dairy a day. That's the most important.
I feel like dairy and milk, is obviously a big part of kids' lives. People probably have their favorite, childhood memories. what dairy foods stick out to you from a kid?
Well, when I was a kid, we drank milk with all of our meals. So that was just, my mom, she wasn't one of the moms that bought Kool-Aid or things like that. We just never really had it in our house. I had to go over to my friend's house to get that sort of thing. but it was like, do you want milk or do you want water? So I drank milk all the time growing up, and that's probably my biggest memory. And I still drink it now. It's like when I have a peanut butter sandwich, it's like you have to have a glass of milk or a cookie or something like that. So of course I remember other things like ice cream and fun stuff like that, but my biggest memory is probably just drinking milk with meals.
That was my downfall. I did not drink a lot of milk.
There's lots of
meals.
other ways that you can get dairy too, but
Yeah, I drink way more milk now than I ever did as a kid.
So if someone is lactose intolerant, how can they enjoy dairy?
Well, there's lots of ways that you can still enjoy dairy when you're lactose intolerant. There's actually lots of lactose-free milks and lactose-free yogurts that you can purchase, and lots of cheeses. A lot of people are still able to eat cheese when they're lactose intolerant because of the process of separating the whey. When you make the cheese, that's what contains the most lactose. So a lot of people are still able to eat cheese when they're lactose intolerant. So there are lots of still ways that you can still enjoy dairy, and lactose-free milk contains all the same nutrients as milk. It doesn't, nothing is removed except for the lactose. So that's a perfectly, fine way to enjoy dairy. And you can find lactose-free yogurt as well.
Have you tried it?
I have, yeah. It tastes the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Actually, it's becoming more and more popular. There's lots of different varieties of lactose-free milk now in the store. Before, there just used to be one brand, but it seems like it's becoming, a little bit more prevalent now. There's a couple different varieties and these like ultra pasteurized milks that are lactose-free. So there's actually a lot more options now than there used to be.
The numbers on the milk jug, the 2%, 1% stuff, explain to us what that means.
So that's the fat content. That's the amount of butter fat, the fat content of the milk. I always encourage people as a dietitian just to drink, low fat milk. So 1% or skim, but 2% in whole milk is perfectly fine too. I mean, I gave whole milk obviously to my little girl until she was 2 years old because for kids, they need more fat content for their brain development and things like that. But I did end up switching her. She's 2.5 now, and now she drinks 1%. And honestly, she didn't really know the difference. At first I switched her to 2% just to see if, and she was fine with it, didn't even know the difference. And then I was like, I'm going to just try 1%. I ran out of the 2%, and I always drink 1%. So I had that in the refrigerator, and she was fine with that too. So, I was afraid that she would just always want to drink whole milk, but honestly, there's nothing wrong with whole milk either. It's just, if you're trying to watch calories and fat, that can kind of add up. So, but all milk contains the same amount of protein, the same amount of vitamin D, calcium, all those things, no matter what fat percentage you're getting. So really, it's just the amount of fat and calories. Okay. But some people just really, they grew up on whole milk. That's what they've always drank. They prefer it, and that's okay too.
Oh, skim milk. It's just a little too clear for me.
Yeah, that is not
it's
for me.
It's kind of watered down. Yeah, I mean, I like the 1%. That's what I drink.
Mm-hmm. We drink 2% at our house. So I saw where there's a program called Adopt a Cow. Can you tell us about that program?
Sure. That's one of the programs that we have at the St. Louis District Dairy Council. And this is where teachers can go in and adopt a cow for their classroom. So at the beginning of the school year on our website, which is stldairycouncil.org, we have an adoption barn. And we have several farmers that participate in the program. And the farmers take pictures of a baby calf. And then, every month, they get updates of pictures of how their cow's growing, and they get some, facts about the dairy farms and all that kind of stuff, and little activity sheets and things that they can do for the classroom. So it's so fun, and the kids get to name the cow, and it really becomes like a part of their classroom. So I've gone on a couple of visits this year to visit the classrooms, and it's just fun to see the kids get so excited about their cow. They're always like, "Are you bringing the cow with you?" I'm like, "No, I can't bring it to your school," but they do get really excited to just talk about it, and it's fun to see them learn just about where their food comes from and about dairy farms. We've actually taken some of those same classes on field trips to farms, and so they've actually been able to, see the cows in person, and it's fun. It's always fun to go on those visits.
I bet they love that.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, Rachel and I were talking about how the Indy 500 winner usually gets chugs a big glass of milk. And we kind of joked about how that would not be our first choice after a 2-hour, hot ride in a car like that. But it turns out some low-fat milk is actually, it's a good workout recovery drink. Did you know that?
Absolutely, yeah. We actually have a program, too, where we offer grants to coaches to purchase chocolate milk as a recovery beverage for athletes. And chocolate milk is actually one of the perfect beverages to recover after a workout because it's a great mix of carbohydrates and protein. So, some of the other drinks like sports drinks and stuff are really just like electrolytes, a lot of sugar and things like that. But chocolate milk has protein and it has carbohydrates. So it's a great drink to drink after a hard workout.
The town that we're from, they do a chocolate milk mile.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of like hot chocolate 5Ks and things like that. So that sounds really fun, too.
So we know we're supposed to get our 3 recommended servings per day, but how does someone reach that goal?
One of the easiest things that you can do is to just drink milk with every meal. You can do lots of other things too, like adding cheese to things. I mean, I personally think that cheese can go with everything.
Oh, yeah, me too. I put cheese on everything.
Everything, yeah. It can go on sandwiches. It can go on eggs. It can, just be a snack by itself. You can put it on soups and casseroles and all kinds of stuff. And, you can make dips with yogurt or sour cream, things like that. You can add milk to your coffee. So there's so many different ways that you can get dairy. We, on our website at stldairycouncil.org, we have different recipes every month that we feature, sometimes different types of smoothies. Or, this month we have a smoothie recipe. It's a mango and avocado smoothie. So it's, kind of a little bit different. And then we also have some overnight oats recipes. I don't know if you guys have ever made those before, but, it's something like quick and easy. You can make the night before with oatmeal and some yogurt and milk. You put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you can, pull it out in the morning and have something healthy to eat.
That's awesome. Do you have recipes on the St. Louis Dairy Council page? We
do, yeah. You can go to our website to find more information about our recipes. It's stldairycouncil.org.
Okay, so what are some important messages about dairy you want our listeners to know?
Well, it is important that everyone get 3 servings of dairy a day. I know we've kind of already talked about that a little bit, but most Americans are only getting 2 or less. So it is important to get those 3 servings. Dairy has 9 essential nutrients, and that means that our body needs these nutrients to function. You can't, make them on your own. You have to get them from food. Dairy is a really great source of protein. It's important for bone health. Also, just some things to know about dairy. Dairy is a local food, so, it is really popular now to, eat local foods and things like that. But when you're eating dairy, you are eating local foods. It only takes 48 hours for milk to get from the farm directly to the grocery store. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah. And, that's why dairy has those expiration dates, but it is truly a local food. And, every area has their own local dairy. But farmers do treat their cows really well. They have plenty of food and water. They're kept cool in the summer and warm in the winter. They have veterinarians and nutritionists that are regularly checking on them. The farmers that I talk to, all the dairy farmers say that, a happy cow is going to produce more milk. So they like to keep their cows happy. And farmers do truly just work so hard all the time. When you think about dairy cows, they have to be milked at least, a couple times a day. So farmers work 365 days a year. They can't take a day off from doing that, or, they'd be in trouble with their cows. So
have you ever milked a cow?
I've tried. Yeah. Yeah. They don't really do it by hand anymore. They have little machines that they use, but yeah, I have tried to milk a cow before. It's kind of a messy, process. Yeah.
I have not had the displeasure.
Oh, you need to. For more information, where can our listeners go to find you?
They can check us out on Facebook at STL Dairy Council. On our Facebook page, we post all kinds of stuff of, different things that we're doing in the community. We have pictures and recipes and all kinds of stuff there. They can check out our website at stldairycouncil.org. And for any questions, you can email us at info@stldairycouncil.org.
All right, Jill, thank you so much for being here. We hope to have you back again.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.
You're listening to Centralia on Air with Shane and Rachel. We'll be right back.
Shane and Rachel here. Welcome back. This is Centralia on Air. Our second guest today is local author and war veteran, Mr. Stanley Paskavich. Stanley stopped by to talk with us about some of his writing and an issue very close to his heart, suicide prevention. But don't call it suicide around Stanley Paskavich. To Stanley, it's much more serious than that.
All right, Stan, thank you so much for being here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I was born in St. Mary's Hospital. I grew up in Glenridge, Illinois, as we called it then. It's now Junction City, Illinois. And I went to Sandoval High School, worked there as a janitor for a while, and then I ended up joining the United States Air Force. And I was there 12 and a half years, had a great time. And I volunteered to work in the Dover mortuary, and
Oh, really?
it led me to a totally different life.
Yeah, definitely. So you went to Sandoval High School. What year did you graduate?
77.
77. What are some things that tell us what you like to do? What you're interested in?
Being bipolar with PTSD, my mind it never shuts off. I'm constantly thinking and writing, and the writing is, I don't know if my poems and stuff come from me or through me because they happen so quick.
Yeah.
Even in high school, my poetry teacher, I had a quarter semester poetry, and she said I was gifted back when I was a sophomore in high school. So.
So we're here today to talk about a book you wrote. Tell us a little bit about that.
I dealt with suicides a lot in the military. When I worked in the morgue, came back and I was suicidal. One night a friend of mine stayed over and his best friend killed himself, and I had just had enough of suicides, and I decided to write a book about it, but I decided to write it in a way that it's never been heard of before. I'm using the word self-execution to get rid of suicide. Suicide's been around for 350 years. And it doesn't really have that knee-jerk effect. In fact, if somebody says suicide, it's like, oh, okay, yeah. That's in the MASH song, Suicide is Painless. That's the title. A lot of people don't know that. That's, the guy that wrote that song said it was the worst song he ever wrote.
So you've chosen to kind of rebrand suicide and make people think about it a little differently.
Yeah, well, the idea of being remembered for executing yourself, that
doesn't sound right.
But, and I've had people that I know that have actually tried to kill themselves. I was always with a gun in my mouth, fingering the trigger, hammer back, and drunk. But if it wasn't for the VA and the care I get, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
A lot of people, they have war stories about the VA, and there's a lot of veterans that won't go to the VA because of the war stories. They've saved me so many times. I had blood clots in my lungs and all kinds of different things. So,
you've made it your life's mission to help people with PTSD and people that are struggling with thoughts of suicide. What's some of the things they can find in this book?
The book basically really works your mind as you go through it. Like when you're reading the topic and then it drops down to a poem that matches the topic. I kind of believe that actually works two different sides of the brain. I'm not sure, but I think one side is like pattern recognition, which would be the poetry, and the other side is just thinking about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the poems and stuff that I put in there, they're they make you think. This is one of the poems that I wrote and I gave to my doctor at the VA hospital. He's been a doctor for 35, I think he said 35 years. But I titled it SE, Self-Execution. The scope and goal of every mental health organization is to give the mentally ill hope and improve their situation. Yet even with all their training, recovery groups, and pills, there's always the one self-punishment kills. Suicides continue every second of each day. I believe it's because we look at it the wrong way. For most don't realize the true nature of this beast and the legacy of pain it leaves after its feast. I've been to that brink, I've been in pain, and the actions I did bordered insane. Luckily I'm still here, be it random or grace. Hopefully I'll leave something time won't erase. Want to make a difference, want to give to mankind. Just a new mindset could be the right path to find. Many have said SE sounds like a bad thing to say. How many lives could it save if we explained it this way? My heart goes out to all the victims of SE. Hopefully this can make some change in the casualties we see. That was February, year before last I wrote that. After a friend stayed over, his buddy hung himself. So it just put me on a one-man band against people killing themselves.
Yeah.
And I've contacted suicide prevention and everybody, and they've got their own program. Somebody was telling me that suicide's up 34%. That's a lot.
You know what I what I like about so much of your writing, the poems specifically, I think they're just written in a very simple way. They're not using like fancy over your head language or words or whatever. I think most of them, especially that one, they feel like rap lyrics or something. Like I could easily hear like
you could
Kanye
put a song to that.
Yeah, putting that over a beat. Like I think it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like the everyday man kind of expressing himself about, what has been in the past a sensitive or delicate subject, but you're using your writing just to kind of expose it and get it out there, and let's talk about it.
That's why people kill themselves. Nobody wants to listen to them. Mm-hmm. The kid comes home, slams his door, goes to the room. Does the mom go, "Hey, honey, is there anything wrong?" No. And what bothers me, you have Suicide Prevention Day, Suicide Prevention Week, and Suicide Prevention Month. That's 38 days or so. What do they do the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be in their classrooms, teaching classes and stuff? We all went to school. I never had an anti-suicide class in my school. They taught us health and bandages and stuff, but
right.
They didn't go in and say, you probably probably shouldn't kill yourself. Like in my quote, it says, no matter how bad your life gets, if you execute yourself, it'll never get better. And the word execute kind of, self-execution.
So if somebody is listening right now and having those thoughts, what would you tell them?
Well, if they're really bad, I would tell them to call emergency services or 911. If they wanted to go to my book, they could find my book on StanleyCland.com and go through it. It's totally free download to the entire world, and I'm getting people from Facebook telling me, man, you made me think different. And even in the book, I say, if you change the mindset, you change the life. And that's the biggest part of the book, is changing mindsets. But, in StanleyCland.com, it's just like Fantasyland, except you put an ST on it. That showed up when my daughter was 14. I was giving her my life philosophies, and she looked at me and goes, "Dad, you live in Fantasyland."
So that's where that came from?
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier about suicide being up 30-some%. Yet we live in an ever-increasing, gotta have it now, instant gratification world. What do you think? Why are we happier than ever, but apparently we're not? What's the relationship there?
I don't know. You look at your video games and everything. This is an observance I had when I was a kid. When I grew up down well, I grew up here, in Junction City, close to here. Mom and Dad would get the paper, and it was like somebody got killed in Memphis or somewhere, you know. And oh my God, they killed somebody in Memphis, you know. And they were upset about it, you know. It made them feel bad. Now they can kill your next door neighbor, and it's like, oh, they killed the neighbors. We're going to get new neighbors. It's like the whole world has hardened their hearts.
Desensitized.
Against everything because of the movies, the television. Another thing in the movies is, you know, having PTSD. I don't like the movies where they're always putting a veteran with PTSD as a bad guy that kills people and stuff, because most of the people that have PTSD, they won't kill anybody but themselves, because they feel guilty or, like, you know, dishonored, or they did something they wish they wouldn't have done.
Want to go on to some of the other books that you wrote?
Well, he was talking about rapping a book. The Curse of the First Bite book, that is a 448-page poem. It rhymes just like the rest of my poems for 448 pages.
Oh, dang, I didn't realize that.
I didn't. Wow.
It has a evil, red-headed, green-eyed sorceress who in the very beginning is a really naughty, sexy, but she does calm down. I gave the books to some friends, you know, lady friends. They're like, I had to take a cold shower after reading parts of that.
Let's get into 50 Shades
I was just having
territory.
fun. I was just having fun with an all-powerful woman sorceress that could do anything, you know. The purple one you had, the Stanley Land Revised, is after the first book I did. And I gave away probably 200 copies of that, but the first one's not in print anymore. It's just called Stanley Land. It's a pink one. And then I did Stanley Land Revised, which is the purple one. The artistry on it is from my artist, Dave Bounty. He's my personal artist. He'll draw whatever I want. Did you see the Spaghetti Soup book?
Yeah, we looked at that one.
How did you like the cover?
It was cute.
I thought it was...
it just screams insanity, doesn't it?
I thought it was Stanley's version of Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
Just a little edgier,
Yeah.
a little crazier, and a little bit more funny.
It was fun to write.
Yeah.
But, you know, your life story in 100 pages. But see, on all my books, I haven't been promoting my books. This is the only book I'm really promoting. My friends are like, you know, your SE book that's the best book you ever wrote. I said, good, I'll give it away. And they're like, why do you want to give it away? I said, because I don't want to make money on other people's pain and suffering.
Which is very admirable, because there are certainly, I mean, there's an entire genre of self-help,
Right.
you know, business that's what they do, right? They make money off of people's problems.
They see a need for it. It's like the lion coming in for the lamb with the broken leg. You know, it's like, oh, we're gonna, you know, they'll make $1 million bestsellers because there's a need for it. But I cover a lot of things in there that's, you know, self-help wise. Some people are telling me that the SE book it's not just a book, that it's a tool. You know, I've got friends that have read it 2 or 3 times, and they say every time they read it, they get something different out of it. But that's that way with some of my poetry too.
Stanley, you talk a lot about how suicide, self-execution, you know, it's not just about you. It's how that action has all these consequences for the people around you, your friends and loved ones. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It's not only just friends and loved ones. It's the fireman that has to bag you up, or the EMT, or, you know, or the policeman. That's like PTSD. Everybody thinks it's just a soldier thing, but policemen get it, firemen get it, you know, EMTs.
And they see some dark stuff day to day.
Yeah. Well, you know, the 3.5 months I spent in the morgue, I've seen some interesting things that my mind will never be able to unsee. That's why I have to take a mass dose of antipsychotics every night just to sleep. But it does keep me level, where I don't get depressed. I don't know, you know, some people, the pills don't work. It works perfectly for me. My doctor told me one time, I think you're too happy.
You don't hear that very often.
No.
And you have your writing, so I'm sure that's a big, you know, kind of get this inner demons and thoughts and stuff out on a paper.
Well, I've got your email address. After I get home today, I'll send you a poem about the show.
Oh, that would be very special.
Yeah. Yep.
It won't take long.
You're already thinking about it?
I thought about it yesterday before I came.
We could see the wheels turning right
Yeah.
now. Stanley, would you read us another poem?
I
Got something in mind?
think Emotional Eyes is on that one. I think that's a good one. When I was in Indianapolis getting cancer treatment, I just got over prostate cancer last November. The VA sent me, once again, the VA helping people, they sent me to Indianapolis, and I had 43 radiation treatments, and they cleared up my prostate cancer.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's good news.
That is good news.
I've lived to quite a bit. I guess I'm not finished doing what I came here to do,
I
No.
guess not.
you know.
No. It's not your time.
I got a couple here that I'll read.
Go for it.
The first one's Emotional Eyes. Look deep in a mirror, and you may not see the way your face looks exactly to me. Now that I've said this, what goes through your mind is how I could see you in a different design. When you look at your reflection that's in the mirror, you have emotional eyes showing things that you fear, things that have been ingrained in your brain from a life of emotions that brings your eyes pain. They tell you each day that you're getting old, and never forget the bad things you've been told. Things like you're stupid, fat, or ugly. Emotional eyes are a curse, don't you see? It's hard to overcome these illusions of self. They can hurt your life and hinder your health. I suppose the best thing that you can do is to love yourself and see the real you. The other one is called Cage the Rage. And my nephew asked me one time, which one's your favorite poem?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got like 700.
Yeah.
You pick. But
Probably the last one you wrote.
yeah.
Right?
Cage the Rage. I can write my thoughts in a diary and hide the darkest secrets of my life. But as for some that can't download somewhere, their life's so filled with strife. Removing the veil of secrecy is hard for us to do. If you can't download your pains, the demons control you. You can try a therapist, a psychiatrist, or a priest, but just a simple diary could be the best at least. Life is never easy, even if you're rich beyond control. But we all have secrets that can tear at each one's soul. Hard times will often happen with pains you can't forget. Understanding this will tell you to find the best outlet. We all know how the past can become an endless page, and how it can trigger us to feel anger, hurt, and rage. Search deep within to find your one true self, and trap your demons in your diary so high up on your shelf. I just thought that was a good one.
Yeah.
I post those on Facebook all the time. I've been posting my stuff on Facebook for 9 years. Not really into the money. I'm just. I've given away $3,000 worth of books.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that's not counting the shipping. I mean, that's just given away. I've made like $40 in sales, but oh well. You know.
I like the front of that book too.
Do you?
Yeah, read those
I'm
too.
gonna have to read those
Yeah.
because it's the truth. You know, don't you think it's wrong to have suicide as an answer?
Yeah.
And you contemplating suicide, it's like, suicide's a permanent answer, and your brain goes, it stopped right here.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so the front of the book, Stan's going to read to us what it says.
Yeah, the front of the book is The Survivor's Guide to Self-Execution. Suicide is a permanent answer to a temporary problem. I say suicide isn't any type of answer. Suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. Suicide isn't any type of solution. Killing yourself is SE, self-execution, and the act will always be greater than the cause. And the bottom of the book says, solo, save our loved ones.
Stanley, anything else you'd like to say?
No. Maybe I'll come back again for another book.
So how many books do you have?
I have 6 on Amazon, and
6
I got the one that's not in print. I've been looking for a band to write for about 30 years. And every band I talk to, they're like, we want to do our own thing. and then they don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know, I was telling Shane, Shel Silverstein wrote for Dr. Hook in the Medicine Show. He also wrote A Boy Named Sue for Johnny Cash.
I looked up that video. You told me to.
It was a good video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like the tree one.
Oh, the Giving Tree?
Yeah.
That's one of my
I
favorite
cried.
stories ever.
I cried.
Makes me tear up.
You know, and as far as crying, I will, with my PTSD and that, I will put on music or songs that I know will make me cry. Because I tell people, if you don't download, you explode. I even say that in the book. So, it's like what I call it is like a cleansing. I put on music that I know will just break me down, and because if you don't, it goes the other way, and sometimes it's not pretty.
Sometimes you just need a good cry.
Yeah. Well, one of my quotes I say that tears don't carry out pain. They wash into strength. But
All right, Stan, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your books with us. And if anybody's looking to check out any of Stan's books, you can check out Amazon.com.
And Stanisyland.com.
And Stanisyland.com.
Stanisyland.com.
Awesome.
It's the free download to the world.
Yes.
But anyway, it's been nice meeting you too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're listening to Centralia on Air with Shane and Rachel. Up next, we've got the community calendar. Stick around, we'll be right back.
You are listening to Centralia on Air with Shane and Rachel. Here's a look at your community calendar. The third annual Chris Hopkins Memorial Ride on Saturday, June 30th. The ride will start at Roadhouse Harley-Davidson in Mount Vernon, $20 per rider and $25 for couples. For more information, call Carissa at 618-204-4962.
Marion County Home and Community Education presents George Ports and the Friends of Bluegrass on Saturday, June 30th from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Salem Community Theater. Adults are $10 and kids 12 and under are $3. For more information, call 548-1446.
The Greater Southern Illinois Invitational Rodeo, hosted by Timberland and Withers Broadcasting on Saturday, July 14th. Adults will be $13 in advance and $15 at the gate. Children 10 and under are free. Check out our website for more information.
The Centralia Dog Park Quarter Auction will be held on Sunday, July 22nd at the Centralia VFW at 1:30 p.m. The City of Centralia will maintain the dog park, but they are raising money for stationary dog toys, benches, and hydrants. There will be a 50-50 drawing, heads or tails game, and many great prizes.
Jay Jolliffe Memorial Golf Tournament, hosted at Greenview Golf Course in Centralia on Saturday, August 11th. Start time at noon. Cost is $70 per player or $280 per team. Entry fee includes lunch, dinner, and drinks on the course. All proceeds from the tournament will provide scholarships to district students who will be attending college.
Market days in Mount Vernon at Veterans Park on the first Saturday each month through September from 8 to 2 p.m.
And a look at your local area blood drives. Friday, June 29th at Salem Community Center from 2 to 6. Sunday, July 1st at Trinity Lutheran School in Hoyleton from 10:30 to 2:30. Thursday, July 12th at Bryan Manor in Centralia from 1 to 5. And that's a look at your community calendar on X95 in the Big 1210. If you have an event you would like to share with us, you can email wiley1210@gmail.com. Or for more information about these events and others, check out our website at x95radio.com.
That's it for this week. If you like what you hear, come back next Sunday at 11 on X95 in the Big 1210. You can also find past shows on YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at X95 Radio. She's Rachel Roddy.
And he's Shane Lothar.
And this was Centralia on Air.